All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Walking with J.Beau on this fine sunny August 25th, Sunday afternoon. Absolutely beautiful day again. A little more clouds than yesterday. But we are going to do between 5 and 6 miles today. And I have noticed that I don't know what YouTube's algorithm uses, but sporadically, periodically, some of my previous walks have disappeared in my playlist. And I was wondering what the storage limit was for YouTube. Can't find that information anywhere. I looked. There's like nothing in my account that controls uploads that tells me how much upload space I have left. So they have taken it upon themselves to arbitrarily delete some of the walks that I went on, which I guess is fine. There's some of them I really would like to keep. So I'm going to go through and, you know, try to see what's been deleted and what hasn't. Like the one I went to Barker Mill Dam, you know, that is one that I want to keep. Not the entire walk. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm never gonna sit there and just watch it. There's certain parts of it I want, and I do have that video backed up, so it's really not as big a deal. Plus, being an older person, and you probably relate to this if you are an older person, back in the day, we didn't rely so much on taking video and all that. You just kind of relied on your memory. So I have it in my head. And I do know that every single one of these walks that I upload is between 10 and 15 gigabytes. And YouTube is free. So and you have heard me mention before that I'm pretty surprised that they have allowed all of the uploads that I've done, hour and a half, 2 hours. I mean, that's a lot of disk space that I'm not paying for. So I'm certainly not complaining. Now I could streamline the videos and start ripping them at 720, lesser quality, but they don't look as good. And to be honest with you, I have a pretty minimal audience that actually watches these walks all the way through. So they're more for me personally. It's something to do. It helps keep walking interesting, for one thing. Where I can just walk and then upload it. And, you know, because talking to you right now, it's really good. Helps me get in a rhythm. And I was walking without talking to anybody, and I would still be walking and doing that, but this is definitely more interesting when I get somebody to babble to. So, 'cause, And it is a walking vlog. Now, I've noticed some people on YouTube, they upload their hiking, woods hiking, and they edit their videos, and they put music in the background, and you know, that's nice and everything, but for me, it's, I mean, I could do that, but for me, it takes away from the experience of walking the entire route, the quiet moments, what it's like walking, and that kind of gets lost in that making a 20-minute production. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just a weirdo. Because even my brother was like, yeah, I like your walks and stuff, but geez, an hour and a half, that's too long. I can't sit there and watch all of that. And that's understandable. Because I can tell you right now, editing the videos would be much easier for me, because there's a yes and no on that. Because if I take 10 minutes to go on a tirade about something, that's 10 minutes of, well, now I got to cut 5 minutes out of that to fit with the other 15 minutes to make a 20-minute walk video, because I'm afraid somebody watching it might think it's too long. So now when I do unboxing video reviews for firearms, and when I attach shooting videos with it, I try to stay around 20 minutes for total time. So, you know, I get that. And conversely, if I was going to go on a mountain hike and I was gone for 2 days and did like 2 days of hiking, I would not upload the entire 2 days of hiking. So anyway, I guess what I'm saying is I just like recording my walks, and I will watch them through at least once while I'm doing things online. Kind of like running in the background, look up at it once in a while. And it's a thing for me that's kind of therapeutic. I don't expect it to make sense to anybody else. It's why I've always said that I do this for me. So anyway, I did upload the entire Woods Walk Gun Talk number 26 that I did yesterday. I walked about 6 miles yesterday, but only recorded about 5. So for like the Woods Walks ones, I record after I'm where the Woods Walk starts rather than all the way up to it. So and we also had a 9-mile walk we did, which is pretty rare. And I edited that one down to 2 hours. So you only got to see about 6 miles of it, really. But that was an interesting walk, I thought. So anyway, today is going to be about 5.5, maybe 6 miles. And we're going to go more of a scenic rural route because I don't like all the traffic. It is warm today. That it is. That it is. So I got something that I usually don't get bothered with too much, is tinnitus in my left ear. And it's not even like ringing in my ears. It's just like background noise. That happened before and went away after a couple days. And the reason why it's on my left side is because that's the side of my body I have nerve damage on caused by the malabsorption of B12 and celiac disease caused by processed foods, which is why I no longer eat them. But anyway, we'll get the blood flowing on the walk. That might be okay. It's already a lot quieter. It's funny watching the media downplay Kennedy endorsing Trump. It really is. And you know, it's going to be a hodgepodge of, you know, thinking about it. RFK is being a difference maker in about 10 states. He's not going to be on all the ballots, but he's going to be on the battleground states, which is really important. And my best guess from what I've been reading and ascertaining from both RFK and Trump's senior campaign advisor, that this is going to benefit Trump enough to get over the hump. It's not going to be a big dramatic difference, but it is a difference. It's enough difference to make a difference, as Paul Harrell would say. Sometimes he says not enough difference to make a difference. But this is all important stuff because nationally 200,000 votes can swing an election in a close election. And unfortunately, I think this is a close election right now. I don't think it's going to stay that way. I think Trump's going to pull ahead. And the reason why I really just don't believe Kamala Harris is going to run away with anything more than she has, and in fact she's going to go down, is because, one, she's being heavily propped up by the media, trying to create sensationalism, which the media is good at. They are very expert in that. And what I mean by that is making something out of nothing to make it a thing, you know. Like, for example, you could have children falling in wells every day. Everybody knows about it. People don't think about children falling in wells. And then there will be one particular child falling in a well, having something to do with the election. Maybe the town, maybe somebody associated with that family had something bad to say about Trump. Then they turn around and sensationalize it, and they make the kid in the well a celebrity. Talk about it all day long in the media, all the media outlets, when in fact, you know, we've had plenty of kids fall in wells and nobody cared. So we just had 312,000 children disappear crossing the border. Nobody knows where they went. They're gone. The media was very quick not to fact check Trump, because that's the truth. The Joe Biden, Kamala Harris administration lost 312,000 children sold into the sex trade, God knows what, children being sold to people as children illegally, trafficking. So these children are victims, and the Kamala border czar and Joe Biden are directly responsible for that, because that was under control when Trump was in office, and they signed what CNN said 30 executive orders in his first 3 days, reversing all of Trump's stuff. So anyway, we pray for those 312,000 kids. They could be dead. I saw reports from the border. I've never been to substantiate it or corroborate it, because it's such a dark thing, nobody touches it. But there was a room found in this adobe kind of building that had piles of children's bodies, murdered after they crossed the border. Now, why would that happen? Well, the coyotes, which are the people that transport human traffic for the cartels, once they get their money, they don't carry through with their end of the deal. And once they cross the border, which is what they were paid to do, they kill whoever they brought across, because now they don't have to be responsible for them. And they do that with the ones that don't owe the cartels money. The ones that are fortunate enough to owe the cartels money get deposited around the country, and they are expected to pay the cartels back what they owe. And they do so by dealing drugs and working in gangs. And we got a new Trump flag. Let me go get a shot of that. Got a Trump flag there. The Trump flags are coming out. So we got a new Trump flag alert. I think that's going to be something I do on my walks. new Trump flag alert. You hear somebody shooting their firearms in the distance. Welcome to Trump country. Yeehaw! God bless America. So we did our gun shooting yesterday. It was a lot of fun. I talked about it on my walk yesterday afternoon. Shooting a Winchester 1895, manufactured in 1899. It was a really excellent rifle to shoot. It was in a caliber I'd never shot before. 30-40 Krag, which is 30 is the caliber of the bullet, and 40 is the amount of grains of powder. And the performance was a bit better than a 30-30 as far as longevity. It had about probably about the same muzzle velocity that the 30-30 has, but the longevity was better because of that little bit of extra powder, and bullet profile is a little elongated, longer than the 30-30. More aerodynamic for long distances. And the Winchester 1895, built in 1899, had a little lever you could flip, and you could adjust the rear peep sight up very easily. Very easily. Excuse me. And that was really cool because it had like 50 and 100 yard increments on the lines on it. So if you know the distance to your target, excuse me, you could adjust the rear peep sight accordingly to compensate for it. So, very cool. So anyway, that was a lot of fun to shoot, and it was a rifle made for the Russians first, made for the Russian military, and they weren't used in our military until a little bit later. But that 30-40 Krag is also called 30 U.S. Army. So that is a really good round, and apparently you could do some damage with it from quite a distance with that. And it had a 28-inch barrel, which you know, that's the thing with the muzzle velocity on the box. We don't know what the length of barrel was used for that. Did they use a 24, 22, 20-inch to put that info on there? But the 28-inch barrel allows the gases to really reach maximum. And as Paul Harrell has explained in his videos plenty of times, that you can make a barrel too long where it starts being detrimental. It doesn't add anything extra. And the shorter the barrel, if it's too short, then you take away from some of the velocity. And as I've said in my walks plenty of times, velocity and speed are two different things. There's a mathematical calculation for velocity. Don't know what the hell that is. Don't really care. I don't design bullets. I don't plan to anytime in the future. And that kind of stuff is just there for people to sound smart on the internet. So I have said this for a long time, and it holds true. The people that know the most on the internet, if they don't know it through personal experience, are what I call know-it-alls. They talk about a lot of things because they remembered like a rim size for a Corvette in 1978 was this, but they don't really know anything about the car. They just like to say that, so they sound like they do. Don't like people like that. So we got a new barn going up here, looks like. That's cool. That wasn't there before on our last walk. So the velocity through a 28-inch barrel might be different than what it said on the box. But it'll be ballpark. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Garand Thumb, mainly because most of the stuff he shoots on there is high-end military stuff, military gear. That's all fine if you're into that stuff. I'm not. And but he just had a really good video on shotguns, pump shotguns. It was a simple question he was asked. Why is the military still using pump shotguns? Why have they not switched to auto loaders and things like that? And that's because we got another Trump flag banner on the lawn. Another Trump banner. So anyway, long story short is they're a lot more practical in combat, durable, rugged, they perform well, and they've been using basically the same shotgun since before World War I in the military. It has been a tool that has been extremely valuable as a combat weapon because mainly urban warfare and trench warfare. Now, urban warfare, you got to go door to door, you got to bash doors in. The shotgun will take out the lock assembly on a door. You can ram it against the door. He had different versions in his video. Like, a lot of people are like, why would you have one of these shorter shotguns with the short barrel? Like the TAC 14 Remington 870 TAC 14, like we shoot sometimes. And that's because it has that pistol grip handle, which makes it not a shotgun, so it makes it legal lengthwise. So what's good about that is what he was demonstrating on video, I didn't know, so I learned something new. So I'm not saying he doesn't have a good channel and he's not knowledgeable. He is. He's very knowledgeable. I just, you know, combat firearms, I don't really, at my age of 56, I would hope I would not have to resort to running around in the bushes and the mountains killing communist Chinese. I would hope it never comes to that. That's for younger people than I am. But you do need firearms for protection and to go on the offense if you have to in bad situations, especially if you're an older person. You need that advantage. You're not going to run away from a mob of people when you're 56 years old. Okay, that's important to remember. You absolutely have to have a firearm. I mean, you could talk about Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse got chased down by a mob. You know, freaking 20-year-old kid, 19, 20, fit, was doing pretty good, and you know, he was running out of gas. He had been running for a few blocks before that, and he was just out of energy. He tried to give himself up after he shot those 3 people, or 4 people, or was it 5? I know 3 of them were really messed up. I think he missed one of them, and another one he shot dead. But basically, he was young, fit enough to run, and he just simply ran out of gas, and the mob caught him. He tried to avoid a confrontation. So that's my point. If you're 56 years old, maybe you could run for a block. If you don't have any knee problems, ankle problems, back problems, things that creep up on you as you get older, all you're going to have is your firearm. That's all you're going to have. And the training that you've done using it, which is absolutely very important. I feel very comfortable shooting firearms, rifles, shotguns, because we do it often. So it's one of those things where even just shooting cheap 22 bulk ammo, okay, that is wonderful training. You learn a lot of things from everything from trigger discipline, muzzle discipline, safety, accuracy. Granted, there's not enough recoil on there where if you have a loose grip on the pistol, it's not really going to affect too much where you're aiming, as opposed to shooting a shorter barrel 9mm or a .357 Magnum and a snub revolver. Those are going to snap your hand backwards, and you need to have a firm grip. So, you know, shooting 22s won't teach you that, but it teaches you proper shooting stance, sight picture, acquiring your target quickly. So there's a lot of benefit from that. Highly recommended. But anyway, I'll get into the shorter shotgun thing, like the Mossberg Shockwave kind of thing, which is really important with that is with the Shockwave, because it's a shortened barrel, you have it's the same as the TAC 14, which is a 14-inch barrel, and when you're going to use it to shoot through a door, and the reason why his video, Grand Thumb's video, was good on that is it showed you by demonstrating different techniques for shooting a short shotgun like that. Now, a lot of people are like, why would somebody own this shotgun? It's freaking useless. And as soon as somebody says something like that, you can automatically chalk it up to they're a know-it-all. They don't know what they're talking about. Everything has a use. So he was demonstrating that if you take a regular shotgun with a full stock, and let's say you're standing up against a door, and then you have the gun like this, you know what I mean? Well, your fulcrum is way back here. There's no leverage with this hand. So when you shoot that, there's an awful recoil that will hurt your hand or your thumb with like something really powerful round, like the kind of rounds that the military uses, buckshot, 9 pellet, a little bit less than 9mm in diameter bullets, pellets inside. So it's like 9mm at one time with like, you know, 2,000 feet per second or better. So anyway, picture, I know this is going to look funny to people if they drive by, but if you have the gun like this, you don't have any leverage. Now, if you have a shorter shotgun, like the TAC 14, he was saying that the way they train you is to not hold it like this, is to hold it like this on the pistol grip and put your thumb in the trigger. And then when you pull the trigger with your thumb, the recoil is then hardly anything, and you could shoot the lock through a door. So if you're hiding off to the side and you need to get through that door in house-to-house combat, urban combat, then that technique right there is very valuable. So he demonstrated that, and that was really fascinating. It was a very good video. I highly recommend it. He explains why shotguns have been so reliable in the military, pump shotguns. One, it's parts. These shotguns have millions of parts available. They're easy to fix out in the field by somebody that's not a gunsmith. Kind of like the 1911 kind of principle with soldiers in combat. So it's easy to service, clean your rifle. And he was explaining that the newer Mossberg 590A ones have a cap when you unscrew the end of your magazine tube. They have another cap underneath that you can release separately. So you can take that cap off and very easily clean your magazine tube without having a whole bunch of, you don't need any tools. And you know, you got to remember that the military ones have a bayonet lug on it, and they sell those for civilian use. Mossberg 590A, you can get one that comes with the bayonet lug installed on it if you want a bayonet. Now, if you've watched my videos, I have a Tokarev with a bayonet on it. It's got a bayonet lug. It's a Remington 870 clone. It's very cool. Don't know how that would withstand for being a quote-unquote budget shotgun in combat, but it's done me very well. It's been my go-to shotgun more than my Mossberg. I just like how it feels, and what I like about it is the shorter length of pull that they put on it, so you can really hold it in tight to your chest. The Mossberg has a longer length of pull that, for me, because I'm very thick-chested, a normal male, maybe it might be just fine, but for me, I have that extra thickness on my upper body. And in fact, going to the doctors and getting x-rays over the years, I joke with them. I said, well, you can go ahead and take a picture if you want to, but you're gonna have to take another one. And she's like, yeah, right, you're gonna tell me how to do my business. I'm a radiologist, I've been here for this long. And sure enough, well, we need a second image. Your chest didn't quite fit in frame. Well, I tried to tell you that. So those are the kind of things I'm talking about. So pretty nice house. Sounds like they're having a pool party today. Really good day for that. It's about 80 degrees. Almost humid, but not really. So sounds like they're playing wiffle ball or something. Yep, that's what they're doing. So anyways, very interesting. It's a long video too. It's like an hour long, a little over an hour. But he's got it full of content. He has shooting slugs at 180 yards, which even he admits is hit or miss. He explains the difference between a barrel that's choked and adding your own chokes, and the difference that it makes with slugs and shot, which basic summary is if you use a small size choke, that is going to affect your slug. Over time, it will wear out your choke, so it's no longer choking at a tight choke. So you're better off putting a medium choke when you're shooting slugs. But the best thing is like my Mossberg shotgun, where the choke is built into the barrel. That's one thing shooting my Mossberg, is the grouping that it makes at 30-40 yards is very noticeably tight, and that's what you want at that distance. Pretty much all shotguns, if you're only shooting 10 yards, they're all going to have a tight grouping for the most part. It's not like in the movies where they shoot somebody in a room and you see everything in the room has pellets go through it. It just doesn't work that way. But it looks better on film, so they do that. But anyway, that was excellent video by Mr. Grand Thumb. And if you want to know what Grand Thumb means, that's a term used for people that shoot the M1 Garand. When you use the stripper clips and you're pushing the clip in, if you do it wrong, the bolt will release while your thumb is in there, and it will actually slam against your thumb and bruise and give you a blood blister. A pretty good one from what I read. So that was what Grand Thumb, that's where he got his name from, which is kind of cool. So I like checking out all these different channels. I like, you know, checking out the small nobody channels like mine. And I do have a nobody channel on YouTube. You can find it by going at Megatrends, M-E-G-A-T-R-E-N-D-S. At Megatrends will bring my channel up. So we got some music playing across here today. So we're gonna head up this way, up the road. So anyway, we were going to shoot shotguns yesterday and we didn't get around to it. So we'll do that next week. We got 223s to shoot next week. That'll be fun. Squirrels hopping around today. Got some sweat coming out from under my hat. He was also explaining when you're going to shoot through a door and you have to put the barrel right against the door because you're using it as a ram, more or less, is to angle the opening of the barrel a little bit so gases can escape. You could bulge the barrel that way by plugging the end of the shotgun. But what'll typically happen is you'll get a pretty severe recoil that way. So he was showing how to do that up close at an angle where you put the tip of your shotgun against the door, but you don't seal it off, if you know what I mean, flush against the door. So that's an important thing. I really do love my my Mossberg. It's a damn good shotgun. It's lightweight. It's like 6.5 pounds. It's got a sweet trigger at about 5 pounds. Some shotguns you'll have a 7-pound or a 9-pound trigger pull. The single shot ATI Nomad single shot shotguns that we have, a 12 and a 20, both of those are about 11 pounds on the trigger pull. But they break in over time. They're broken in now. They're probably around 9.5 to 10 now. Still pretty good pull. But the Mossberg, I really like it. I like it a lot because it is a pretty easy trigger pull for shotgun. And I remember when I was new to shotguns, I actually pulled the trigger on that one by accident. It was pointed in a safe direction, obviously, but I had just fired it, racked it, and then I had a double fire. I was like, oops. So that was one that was got my attention. I was like, okay. But that was just because I was already set to shoot, and I racked it and it fired again without me really pulling on it hard. So, and that's because the Mossberg trigger, when you're racked, the trigger is sitting almost at the back of the trigger guard. There's hardly any take up, if any at all. You just touch the trigger, it breaks, and that's good for defensive purposes. It really is. It's also good for being more accurate at longer distances. So I just thought I would mention that. So we did get a new Trump flag today on our walk, which is nice. I might actually use that for the thumbnail on this video. Excuse me. So this is one of those walks that's going to be nice when the leaves are turning. So on my woods walk yesterday, I actually caught a woodpecker on video. I was pretty happy about that, actually, as we hear that bird in the tree. I'm going to hang a left up here. The last time we walked in this direction, it was pouring out. We were getting wet. So something we're going to be doing on the channel soon, which is before we had this head-mounted camera, we have a video on there which you might want to check out of we're shooting different kinds of produce with shotguns, with the produce mounted on a bayonet right on the front of a shotgun. That is so fun to do. It is messy. You stab a little watermelon with the bayonet, and then you pick the shotgun up like this with it stuck right in front of the barrel by about a ½ inch in front of the barrel. And things like cantaloupes, eggplant went up really well, watermelon, cabbage. Lettuce was actually pretty disappointing. You'd think lettuce would do a good show, but no, the best one was cabbage. Cabbage and the little watermelons and the eggplant. But you can do cantaloupes and you know, things like that. It has to be big enough to stick the bayonet in the bottom of it and stick up far enough in front of the shotgun barrel. Kind of like this. That's the shotgun barrel right here. And it ends up being like right in front of the barrel like this. And it puts on a great show. So there is a video on the channel. I think if you just type in shotgun and bayonets or shotgun and bayonet, it would pop up. Motorcycles. Now we're clouding up. We're not supposed to, but that, to me, it kind of looks like we might get like a brief shower, a thunderstorm later. Humidity wise, it kind of feels like that today, actually. This is where we were walking, and there was onions on the side of the road, which they're all gone now, so I'm assuming something ate them. Excuse me. A lot of woods out here. It's one thing I can say about Maine, there's no shortage of woods. It's amazing to me how many people around the country never get to see a view like this. And I'm just walking, you know, haven't really been paying attention because I live here. But this fall, when all these trees on the sides are all orange, yellow, and red, I mean, that just looks gorgeous. So we're going to see all of that on these walks. I don't think this year is going to be a disappointment. Hasn't rained much. But like I said before, when you have a lot of rain during peak leaf season with some storms that strip the leaves off the trees, the wonderful views can go away pretty quickly. But people come from around the country to vacation here in the fall just so they can go leaf peeping. That right there looks like a cluster of mushrooms growing around a trash bag. So somebody threw something away and those mushrooms are going crazy. That's interesting. Didn't notice that the last time. Excuse me again for coughing in your face. So we got this one steep hill up ahead here. And once we're over that, we'll be on the home stretch. Should be coming up on about 4 miles shortly. 3.5, 4, something like that. We'll be coming up on 3.5 miles. We're at 3.44 right now. Yeah, so basically I was talking about my left ear making noise. And typically, because I have nerve damage on my left side, that is telling me that my B12 is getting low. Wow, look at this. See that right here? We have a hole under the road that opened up. That is going to be a problem. That's going to be a sinkhole here. Hopefully nobody finds that the hard way. So we have the intersection of Greenwood Lane and Old Green Road. And I'm actually going to send that video clip. I'm going to make this a video clip and I'm going to send it to the city. Let them know that the road has a hole in there that goes underneath the road. It's pretty deep. Normally I wouldn't pay attention to a hole in the road, but I can tell there's at least 1.5 feet of air underneath the road there where the ground is eroding. So I'm going to let somebody know about that. That can be dangerous. That gets big enough that it'll let out just as somebody in a big truck is going by. I'm sure that would get their attention. All right. So I don't know what is causing that erosion underneath that road. Might be a leaking water pipe that runs under the road for a water supply. Don't know. I didn't see any drain under there for water. But it is very apparent that the ground is eroding. So I'm going to compress that video to make it small enough to email. And I'm going to send it to the city before something bad happens to somebody. Well, like I said 1,000 times, every time you go on for a walk, something different happens. Can smell manure. Nice quiet Sunday in Maine. Hope everybody's having a beautiful weekend wherever you are. Now I got a nice downward slope on the rest of the way back. Nice patriotic flag there. And get God on it with a crucifix. God bless America. That's what I'm talking about. So I had a nice plate of spaghetti before going on this walk. So we just hit 4 miles. And spaghetti is definitely on my do not eat list as a regular food source, because it does upset my celiac disease, small intestine, through autoimmune response. Once in a while, it doesn't do harm. I guess anything on a regular diet is really what's not good, if it's something that's upset your innards. Rice is great. I've seen a lot of misconceptions about rice. There are people that will say rice raises your cholesterol, it does this. No, it doesn't. You know what raises your cholesterol? The fat you're cooking the rice in. Just boil the rice and put what you want on it. If you want tomato sauce, you want to make your own kind of gravy, whatever you want to make. You know, rice is not high in fats and cholesterols. So it is high in carbohydrate, and it is good for you. It's got fiber, and it's kept the human race alive in parts of the world for countless centuries. It's cheap and easy. So now we're coming down to that part that's down here that I had showed you on these wood planks that look out over the horizon, and I had my camera set on the wrong setting, so I'm gonna head back and get another camera shot. I don't see any storms out there coming. Just walk down this way. That's a big giant cricket. Goodness, that's one of the biggest crickets I've ever seen. So this is that pathway that they laid down with those big stacks of wood, so they can have an access. Now I've noticed four other places that have access to these power lines, in various places where these power lines are, and they've done the same thing here. And I think this is part of their contingency plan for in the winter time or any time where we have big storms, so they can get their equipment up here to fix this stuff if they need to. Apparently that seems to have been a big factor that contributed to the power outage lasting for days. So I think that is the reasoning for this. That would stand to reason, in my opinion. as they say. So they got this platform out here. I don't know why they would have this here. Maybe thinking maybe from an engineer's point of view, if you're going to be running a job here fixing things, you'd have to stage equipment. So you got a road that comes through here. It goes up there where they can fix stuff. They got heavy machinery up there, and right here you could stack whatever it was you needed to fix this stuff if you had to. That's just a guess, you know, I don't know. But you do have a nice view from here out there. So this fall we will definitely be coming here to watch when the leaves change. It should be spectacular looking, as we will see up ahead here. If I don't trip in a hole here and snap my ankle. I'm sure those planks here work really well for heavy machinery, but when you get smaller feet, we'll go up this way. Every time I walk by, I hear a little creature scurrying in the bushes. The place is alive, man. It's alive. Oh, you hear that? I smell that. I can hear pigs. I heard a couple of pigs going pig noises, you know what I mean? Somebody got some pigs, man. Wow, look at that. Now tell me that's not going to be a nice view without telling me it's not going to be a nice view. All right. Got my pictures and video I wanted. Now we're going to head back, finish up the walk, see if we can smell and hear some pigs again. Oh, there it is. There he is. Hi. Right there. There he comes, look. Hi, fellas. Hi. Looks like a Dalmatian pig. Hi. Well, they look friendly enough. Well, I gotta tell you, it's the first time I ever see a pig on my walk. Hope you enjoyed that. They look better than they smell, I can tell you that much. Well, that was fun. So this will definitely be a good place to come when the leaves change. Come out this way. And those leaves will fall off the trees that were around the pigs there. We might actually get to see the pigs better. But there was 2 pigs there. I'm pretty sure you got to see at least one of them. A Piggly Wiggly. cross over here because I like having traffic at my front and not at my back. Yeah, that was pretty impressive with that pig in person there. Had a very deep-throated grunt. Sounds like they have very big lungs and deep vocal cords. That was a pretty good size one too. I don't know the difference between a pig and a boar. It's not up to me to decide. I do know that I'm going to be at the ranch soon, so up ahead here I'll stop recording. I think I'll stop recording at 5 miles. And I'll walk the rest of the way in solitude. I'm definitely ready to eat again. It just looks like weird clouds. I don't think we're going to get too much thunderstorm action. You watch, as soon as I say that, we'll get friggin' buried by something tonight. Got sweat in my eyeball. It burns. Plenty of ragweed this year. If you're one of those people that suffer from ragweed pollen, it was probably a pretty terrible year. kinds of it. You know, another thing I like about going on these walks is the way the lighting is right now and things like that. You know, I get flashbacks of years ago, and everything just feels different now. Ever since 2020, you know, the world changed in 2020, and it's like the global government made their big move to convert the rest of the world into being obedient. And everything's different now. The over-the-top propaganda, the media, governments. I just was reading an article today, and I'm absolutely aghast that in the UK they're going to be distributing these illegals throughout the entire countryside as a solution to this problem, of this ethnic problem that they created. As a solution, they're going to distribute them and separate everybody and mix them in with everybody else. In what world is that going to work? And the article says that people are going to be forced from their homes, and migrants are going to be given in a housing shortage, okay? They're going to prioritize immigrants over white people in the UK. Or UK citizens, I should say, not white people in the UK. UK citizens. There are black people and Asians and all kinds of people from India that have been in the UK for several decades. They are UK citizens. They're going to get kicked out of their rents and forced to live somewhere else to accommodate immigrants. They did the same thing in Germany. That is part of the plan. They will do it here if they ever get the chance. But that damn Constitution will prevent them from doing that. So, you know, they need to get rid of the Constitution of the United States. And right now, the United States is the leading free world that has to have Kamala Harris lose in November. She has to lose. The Democrats have to suffer a severe defeat. That's all there is to it. If she wins, it's all over. That's it. It's not going to take long for you to notice it either. If she wins. All I'm saying is nobody survives an assassination attempt and makes one of the most iconic photographs ever taken and then turns around and loses the election, okay? I just cannot even picture that. So, anyway, with that, I think it's as good a time as any to end this walk. We're a little bit past 5 miles. And remember to go vote. Grab an uncle or a cousin or a niece, a grandson, somebody that hasn't voted, and grab them and take them with you to vote. Vote by mail, vote by sail, vote by rail. Whatever you do, just vote. We're going to get everybody to vote. There's no more of this BS where my vote doesn't matter, so why bother? It's all rigged anyways. You got to lose that mentality. Get off your ass and go vote. So with that, I will end that right here. Say thank you very much for walking with me. And until the next time, my friends, we will see you on another episode of Walking with J.Beau. God bless you and your family. Stay safe and protect your loved ones. Bye-bye now.